And howdy, folks, is welcome to the pre-show politics stream.
And the intro song says red bandana, but he's wearing a blue bandana.
Well, in the avatar image on camera, I have no bandana right now.
Shiny, shiny.
So, all right, first thing I'm going to gripe about is something that Mrs. Vile brought to my attention. But I'm going to light a cigar first. See, I might not be a CNA stream, but I'm going to light a cigar. All right, so basically, the northeastern side of Mexico has been going through a very severe drought. And that meant that the allocation of the Rio Grande water that they were granted, they were supposed to be giving a portion of that back to the United States. And they haven't been able to meet that obligation. But that is while it is a country agreement, that is a state obligation, meaning it's one of the Mexican states that is supposed to be doing so. So Trump posted to Truth Social saying that he's going to stop water shipments to Tijuana via the Colorado watershed system, as well as the fact that Southern San Diego, which is a state initiative, has a water treatment plant that partially treats Tijuana's water system. And apparently he wants to end that. So basically, that's like saying Washington is pissing off Canada, so Canada is going to fuck up Maine.
I'm sorry, there was just a funny story on the news about crosswalk buttons hacked to imitate Musk and Zuckerberg's voices. Sorry. What were you saying?
Well, I'm just like, I said that what he's essentially doing is saying that because, for a comparison for the United States, Washington State does something to piss off Canada. So Canada is going to do something to fuck up Maine. And that's a good idea. Or if you want to go on a full country basis, that's like saying Mexico is pissing off China, so China's going after the United States. Same continent, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And the quote unquote stable genius diverted water to the LA fires, which did not even go to the fires.
Yes, I know. Fucking moron. Flooded fields that we rely on for crops, so he could try to pretend that he knows what he's fucking doing when it comes to dealing with fires, instead of listening to the people who are in California saying, hey, we don't want that water. It's not going to help the situation. Because there's no way of getting it to the actual fires.
And him lying, saying soldiers are physically turning the faucets. I'm like, that never fucking happened.
No. And let's see. The thing you sent me.
About the Roosevelt?
Yeah, what the fuck is with that? I mean, he's requesting, because I actually went through and read the full order. He's literally saying that he wants to, one, have the State Department revoke reservation status from the Indian reservations there to give it to the military along the border, so that the military can shoot and detain people instead of them going through the civilian court system, and who are trying to cross the border.
Basically, yes. And people is like, shoot people. What do you mean shoot people? Well, if you're unaware, if you actually step on military property without proper authorization, they have all legal rights to open fire on you, no matter who you are or how you are dressed. If you're a Congress member sneaking onto a military base, they have all legal rights to shoot and kill you, no matter who you are. So
Yeah, that's
he
essentially
is
they're not.
bypassing the Policy Comiteus Act. Eminent domain
Comitas,
has been seized.
but yeah.
Thank you. Eminent domain has been seized.
Well, he's not done it yet. He's requesting the State Department to do so. We'll see what they actually say. But I mean, he wants to take literal national forests, literal Indian reservation land, give a small amount of it to the military just so he can have them shoot immigrants.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Can someone please explain to me how this is not the beginning of 1930s Germany?
Well, let me read something for you, okay? When Trump first took office back on January 20th, he signed an executive order declaring a state of emergency at the U.S. border. Remember that? Requiring the Secretary of Defense and Homeland Security to submit a report about what the quote-unquote situation is at said border, together with recommended actions for resolving said situation. It needs to be submitted within 90 days, which is on 4/20, coming up. When his order was signed, Trump also declared that, quote, a national emergency exists at the southern border of the United States. I hereby declare that this national emergency requires the use of armed forces. This directly references the potential execution of the Insurrection Act, which means martial law can become ineffective.
No, well, technically, but I don't think it right now is going to go that far. I'm still pissed about the invoking of the Alien and Sedition Act so that he can suspend habeas corpus for anyone suspected of being a a specific gang member. And here's my problem with it. Their evidence is, or at least the evidences they're claiming, because they are not actually showing any evidences, is that these people have gang affiliated tattoos.
And if anybody is unaware, it's supposed to be verified by the personal ICE officer. And one of the checklists is suspicious tattoos. And they can deem any tattoo as suspicious.
Oh, my Lord.
All right, I'll bring you up, NB, but, on this stream, you might have to tread carefully because I am not a real big fan of Trump supporters after what happened last week.
Well, why? Because they kicked your ass?
Is that what you think?
Yeah, I did.
Did you watch my stream?
Yes, you guys live in an echo chamber.
No, I'm talking about my stream, the one I did on Thursday.
No.
Yeah, no, I had a Trump supporter attack me, literally.
Yeah, well, have I ever?
No, I didn't say you.
Then don't compare me to that fucking guy.
Well,
I don't care who he was. That ain't me. You goddamn well know it. So you got a problem with the guy, but that's not me.
My problem was the fact that I had a bigot wearing one of those fucking Trump hats again verbally assault me.
Great. When have you ever seen me do that to you?
No, we're not saying that was you.
But I'm just saying for this specific stream, because this is the politics stream.
Okay,
it's not you, dude.
Stream, but don't sit here and talk about I'm not happy with Trump supporters and lump me in with a fucking nut job. Okay,
but it's still a nut job that supports the same individual that you do.
Okay, how many fucking nut jobs you got in your fucking party? Seriously,
I'm an independent. Remember?
Oh my God, I love that term, independent. Oh, that's such a cop out.
What? That I'm literally a registered independent.
Just like Tea Party was a cop out for saying, "Well, I'm kind of Republican, but I'm not."
Oh, the Tea Party, yeah, they screwed us. We know.
Yeah, that was a cop out for being a Republican, like saying independent was a cop out for being a Democrat.
No,
same difference.
Yeah,
I
pretty
would
much.
I would
mean,
freaking argue at this point. I'd argue that this point that libertarian is just a Republican light.
I would agree with that. Now, can I answer Elihu's question?
Go ahead.
Elihu, yes, I would agree with what you said about independent being like the Tea Party thing. Absolutely. I think that's a very accurate comparison. Anyway, since I know you're talking about illegal immigration and deportations, and
so let's go ahead and say it. Are you okay with the suspension of habeas corpus?
On American citizens, no.
Okay, how do you know that an American citizen wasn't arrested so far?
I'm sorry. How do I know?
Yes.
Okay. Has there been one that's been arrested that we know of?
We don't know. We don't know. That's what we're asking.
Puerto Rican family.
You want me to
Puerto
do
Rican
about
family.
it?
No, hold on. No, I'm talking about the recent one since the Alien and Sedition Act was invoked.
So,
why? Yeah, I wondered how. I was kind of curious how flipped out everybody was going to get about that. Well,
I'm very flipped out about it.
Well, it's a law. What do you want to do about it?
Yeah, it's a law that is literally set to be unconstitutional and only invoked during times of war.
If it's
we're not at war.
Well, then send it to the Supreme Court to challenge the law like we've done before.
ND, hang on. I got to say something. ND, the current administration has ignored the Supreme Court's order for 37 hours right now.
Yeah. So literally, now the administration's ignoring the Supreme Court. So what do you want to do about that?
Well, let's see. Democrats ignored Supreme Court before.
No. We're not talking about whataboutisms. We're talking about this specific instance.
This current presidential administration has ignored the Supreme Court order for 37 hours now.
What's the Supreme Court order? You guys need.
They must bring this guy back to America. From El Salvador.
No, that's not how it was. That's not how it is. They have to facilitate in his return. You need to learn how to work keywords into it and the grammar. They must facilitate. They are not required to bring him back. By the way, he's now Salvadorian, isn't he?
No, he's a Venezuelan.
No, according to what I heard, he was a
Venezuelan.
That is not.
I know what you have heard. I know what you have heard, NB. I'm going to explain.
I've read. They said he was.
All right, hold on. I'm going to mute you for a second. He was a Venezuelan who lived in El Salvador for a time. But no, he was not El Salvadorian. Most of the people sent to that prison were Venezuelan, not El Salvadorian. All right, I unmuted you.
Okay, okay. So what about this guy? Why do we need to bring him back?
Because he had committed no crime. He was literally on a list of people not to be deported because of his status, because of his protected status.
What's his protected status?
That if he was sent back to his home country, or El Salvador for that matter, he would be in danger of being put to death by the gangs that control those areas.
He was seeking asylum. He was granted temporary asylum until his hearing.
Yeah. And as Dandelion points out, he did have a green card.
Okay. He was here legally, all processed legally, everything.
Okay, well, then they'll facilitate his return. What's the problem?
Except we don't know his status. What if he's dead?
Nobody's been in contact with him. No lawyers been able to be in contact with him. Nobody knows his status. Nobody knows where he is. Why
do we care?
Yeah, I'm curious. Why do you care?
Because the same thing could happen to me.
No.
Yes, it could.
Okay, if you think that way, that's your problem. I'm not going to sit here and change your mind on that.
Okay, how do you think it wouldn't happen to me? If someone says, hey, this guy talks shit about Trump, let's call ICE on him.
You're
So
an
I
American.
so
You're,
so
you're
hold
a
on. So let me
Bigotry.
finish. Let me finish. Let me
Oh,
finish.
God,
So
this
ICE comes ahead and
about
arrests me. They on the report saying that he's a member of this drug cartel. Now, as you've said and supported, I don't get habeas corpus. I don't get to go to before a judge. I get detained and deported.
I said nothing of the sort. I
Well,
said, America, you said, do I believe in the suspension of habeas corpus? And I
yes.
specifically said, no, not for American citizens. You're an American citizen.
How? But here's the issue: you don't get the opportunity to prove that you're an American citizen.
Now you're playing whataboutism.
No, I'm
No,
saying you
no, it's
literally don't.
fact.
That's what the suspension of habeas corpus means. You don't get an attorney. You don't get to go before a judge. You are incarcerated and deported, period.
Okay, so how has habeas corpus been suspended for American citizens?
Okay.
Yeah.
If ICE arrests you under
You're
the
not.
suspicion,
If
that
I
you were a gang member.
if that's the key word with you about yes last week and this week is you talk to me about you're saying playing whataboutism. That's all you're saying.
All right.
What about it?
I specifically do not trust this administration not to use that to deport every dissident that they want because they can now. What's going to stop them, NB?
Well, what stops well,
You're gonna do another whataboutism? You're
why
gonna
not?
say something, some other thing? Because I'm talking about the very current administration. What seriously, in what part of your mind do you think that the current administration wouldn't do something like that?
There's no point to it.
What do you mean there's no point to it? They get rid of dissidents that they don't like, people that would vote against them in the next elections.
Oh, I would say that would most likely be Democrats who would do that.
Except Democrats aren't in part of the current administration, are they?
Yeah. Well, thank God for that.
So if they were, so let's say this for an instance. If it were to happen to somebody you know, would you give a shit?
It won't happen to somebody I know.
You know me, you know Elihu. Would it happen to us?
No, it won't happen.
Why? How do you know it wouldn't happen to us?
How do you know it will?
Because that's what authoritarian regimes do.
No,
ND, let me tell you something.
No, Elihu, the authoritarian regime was.
I'm not talking about authoritarian regime. Let me tell you something.
Okay,
when I go to the mission district, hang on. When I go to the mission district, I tend to look Hispanic. The mission district is 98% Hispanic. Okay, if I get stopped by ICE, what's going to happen to me? Handcuffs in the back of the car. They're not even going to touch my ID or look at it or run it.
Oh,
this is how ICE operates,
and hold
dude.
on. No, and NB, I want you to hold on. And about that, hold on.
I gotta
Okay.
pee. You guys, I gotta pee.
Yeah,
I gotta pee real quick. Here's a real simple thing.
no,
You're all freaking out about this because you live in California because you all voted for a problem.
oh, how about also because I have a Mexican wife? I have kids who look Mexican. And you say, oh yeah, you say, hold on. And NB, you say the last regime was the one that was authoritarian. Name one instance where they did something similar.
Okay, give me a second. Let me take a piss first.
NB, sorry, Mike. Can you can share a screen, right?
I can still share a screen. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna send you something. Okay, one moment. Whoa, no, where is it? Find it. Okay. I'm gonna have to send it to you on X, okay?
Well, if you send it to me on X, I can't share that screen from the phone. No. If you share a screen with me, I can show the screen.
Let me see if I can actually give this link to you for a second.
I don't think I'm going to be staying, but I just thought I'd pop in and say hello.
Well,
no, I can't. Damn it.
I respect your efforts, but I can't deal with cult members. Sorry, MB, but that's where I'm at. So.
Oh, hey, Dandelion.
Right, I'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Dandelion, can you do me a favor?
All right.
Sorry, what's that, Elihu?
on the less contentious stream, maybe we can have another discussion about other nerd related shit.
If I send you something on Instagram, can you share your screen from Mike?
I don't have Instagram on my thingy.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Sorry, I don't have it on my like I'd have to remember
What
my
is your Daniela? I was in the bathroom. So what's your issue this week with me in politics?
Dude, don't be rude intentionally.
Why not? You guys are rude to me. I mean, what did you guys expect? I'm the one person on here who has a different opinion than you guys.
And you know what? When it comes to that, I will give you props on that, MB. And you're probably going to be on this stream. You're going to be taking a lot of shit. And I
know. I already knew I was going to take a ton of shit. I'm fine with it. Just don't.
But
I'm fine with it.
Okay, so
here's where it comes.
Hold on. Before you went to relieve yourself, you were going to give us an example of when Biden was going to do something to imprison and deport.
No, I didn't. I did not say that.
Okay.
Don't put words in my mouth.
Okay, so what Okay, so what is an example of Biden doing something that was authoritarian?
The student loan forgiveness debt, where the Supreme Court said you can't do it, and he kept trying to find ways, and he just went and circumvented it anyway. That's
okay, but how is forgiving? Hold on. How is forgiving Supreme? No. Hold on.
You asked.
I know. I know. I need you to clarify. How is forgiving student loan debt authoritarian?
Well, let's see. How do we go about this? You borrowed money from a bank, basically making a contract to pay it back. The school does not get screwed because the school already got the money. You already got the degree. The bank's the one that gets screwed because the bank is the one that doesn't get the money. They got to write it off on.
Okay. Again, how is that authoritarian though? Because if I accrue a bunch of credit, hold on.
What about that? Not authoritarian.
So what part of it was authoritarian? Was it him trying to circumvent the Supreme Court?
Bingo. No.
Okay.
He did.
Okay, so what did he do to circumvent the Supreme Court on that?
Found other ways to go around it. He just went out and...
Okay, but what specific ways?
Wait, what do you want me to do? Go back and look it up exactly how he went about it?
I would love to hear what exactly he did to circumvent the Supreme Court on that.
Okay, I'll have to get back to you next week because I'm going to have to go through and look at the details.
All right, so let's go to my...
We did that. That was one.
Okay, so let's go back to the first thing I brought up when it came to Trump wanting to give certain lands protected under the American treaties the American Indian treaties. He wants to take back certain parts of the reservations as well as certain parts of the national forests to give them to the military because they are along the border. So the military will control a 20-foot swath of land between California and Texas just before the border, or just after the border, so that the military... 20 feet.
60-foot wide stretch.
Sorry, 60 foot. I apologize. But 60 feet starting from the border northward, from California, Pacific Ocean, all the way to the Texas state border, and give that to the military to guard, essentially.
Are you talking about a demilitarized zone?
No, what he specifically said is he wants to have that. Basically, it would be a 600-mile long, 60-foot wide military base along the border.
So technically, if anybody is caught trespassing on military property, they have all legal rights to shoot somebody without question.
No, actually, we don't.
Well,
they can hold up signs.
Hold on,
Elihu. That was about as stupid as it counts. when it comes to
Okay.
military.
The Director
The
of Homeland
reasoning-
Security
hold
can
on,
authorize bases to shoot to kill per base. So they can authorize this to shoot to kill like Area 51 or Groom Lake or Camp Pendleton.
Now,
authorize at Camp Pendleton,
according-
they can shoot you without authorization.
hold on. Yes, Elihu, but let me go through with it. Let me go through with it more specifically.
Read? Not really.
Elihu, let me go through it more specifically. Okay.
No, you can't do that because that's an unlawful order based on the Uniform Code of Military Justice. God.
Okay, let me finish. NB. The purposes behind this is one, any migrant coming across the border at a non-checkpoint would be subject to military tribunal instead of civilian courts. That was one of the reasons he specifically said that he wants this to happen. So it would go through the military courts, not civilian. Two,
actually, that could actually make more sense because the military process is actually quicker than the civilian process because we have a lot of discharge ways of doing it. We have different levels of court martial we do. Our administration process is more streamlined. So, yeah, I can see the logic behind that. I mean,
the second reason is because they're not going to civilian courts, the suspension of habeas corpus is less of an issue.
Well, they'll have a judge advocate general assigned to them.
Yes, but they'll
have a judge advocate general assigned to them.
That is not necessarily true.
How do you know it's not necessarily true?
My mom was in the JAG. Not civilians don't necessarily get full representation in military tribunals.
No. Okay, stop using the word tribunal.
Why not? That's what that's literally the word that was used in the executive order.
Okay, yeah, because you're making it sound like we're talking about Nuremberg, and I know that's what you're going with when you're saying that.
I'm repeating the words used by the president.
Okay, fine. So a military court. And
the third reason, as stated by the president, is because they are allowed to use lethal force.
Okay, here is where you have to understand the difference there. They are allowed to use lethal force to a point. They have to be given authorization from the base commander. There has to be rules of engagement. There has to be processes where you can't just walk them and shoot someone on Camp Pendleton. Okay, I don't know where you guys come up with this crazy.
I didn't say that. I didn't say Camp Pendleton.
Elihu said it.
No, he was comparing it to Groom Lake, where Groom Lake it absolutely is lethal enforcement.
I don't know where Groom Lake is.
Area 51.
Oh, whatever. Area 51. Like, I give a shit about that place in the middle.
But it's still an area where literally, if you trespass, the United States military will shoot you.
It's a military base.
Signage and
we do have signs up. Yes, we do have signs up that say on certain places, no trespassing, lethal force is authorized. It's labeled. It's already put up.
Now, when you were talking about the rules of engagement and everything, would you think about this specific president would not say use lethal force under all situations?
He doesn't make the rules of engagement.
Okay, who's in charge of the armed forces again?
I know it's the armed forces. I'm telling you, he does not make the specific rules of engagement.
Except he might put someone in charge of that specific base.
He might. This is the thing with you.
I don't see any reason he wouldn't do so, NB.
Because he's not stupid.
Yes, he most certainly is stupid. He is by far the stupidest president we have ever fucking had in this country. And I
I'm
include the one who
glad-
and I include the one who died 21 days into office because he gave a speech that was too long in the cold.
Yeah, I know that one. If he's so goddamn stupid, how the hell did he manage to pull off what only Grover Cleveland did? Please tell me that.
Because there's a lot more bigots in this country than we are willing to admit.
Seriously?
Yes.
Seriously?
Yes.
It's kind of interesting because Trump was
As
the
I
very
said,
first president
as
to
what
ever take a
happened to me,
cognitive
NB,
test.
I literally had a Trump supporter last week walk up to me for no reason and say to me, California, full of liars, thieves, niggers, faggots, and homosexuals. And then when I called him on it, he threatened to start an physical altercation.
Wait a minute. You found a Trump supporter in your area of California?
No, he walked up to me
But
while I was sitting in my car waiting to go inside of a store.
But you were in California, right?
Yes.
Yeah, probably one of those assholes who just wants to come up and get clicks.
Well, he wasn't recording. I happened to be recording the later thing. That's why I got a picture of him that was posted on my live stream for it. Unfortunately, it's a very grainy photo.
So what? The guy had a okay, so some fucking nut job. What is it with you guys in finding the one or two nut jobs, but you guys ignore all the nut
Okay,
jobs?
but here's my issue, NB. This is not the first time it's happened.
Mike did not find this guy. This guy found Mike.
NB.
Guys, I gotta go heat up my coffee.
That is important.
Right.
Coffee. Go. Coffee. Important.
And for anyone who's still listening, this is the fourth time I've had someone in a Trump hat do something like that. And
Yes.
I say that because I'm not including the person who threw a battery at the security guard because we couldn't prove that that was actually a Trump supporter. Could have just been a pissed off, bigoted teenager.
Yeah, Mike, you did not find them. They find you.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I have it here. I'm not wearing it because I was using it to clean, but I was wearing this. And I think that's why he did it to me. He saw a pink guy like me wearing a pink bandana, so he had to go off and say shit like that.
Next time that happens, you need a cue of Aerosmith. Pink, it's my favorite color. Pink, it's a new obsession.
But yeah, when it happens once, I can kind of agree with NB. It's just one nutball. But it doesn't happen. It's happened 4 times to me, including one who threatened to shoot me with a gun he claimed to have in his car.
I put the definition of authoritarianism in the chat for you.
Yeah, I saw. And not only that,
nothing what MB was talking about.
And then not only that, one of the times it happened, I was literally surrounded by about 8 Trump supporters.
Kind of like that Family Guy episode.
So
Trump,
when you say it's, I find the one nut job, that's at least a dozen nut jobs so far, and that's still in just California.
Well,
all wearing Trump hats.
Hey, I don't live in California. I don't know what kind of crazies you got there.
Oh, we're telling you.
No, I'm serious. I really don't. I mean, I have not lived in, well, okay, here's the thing. I lived in NorCal for 7 years. I've seen some crazy shit up there. But when it comes to SoCal, Mike, that's a whole nother level of weirdness.
Yeah, I hate
I don't know. I don't know what's going on in California. Honestly, I keep up with a few things. I'm sorry you're getting personally, as a guy who did support Trump and is critical of certain things and will always be supportive of him. I'm sorry you're getting harassed. I don't agree with that. I didn't agree with it when people did it to Trump supporters. I absolutely don't agree it happening to you.
But here's the thing is I don't see it on a daily basis or even a yearly basis with people attacking Trump supporters. In fact, the worst thing, like for instance, that I've seen recently, when someone was wearing a Trump hat, was the person didn't help them out at Walmart.
Well, you got to look at it this way. Over the last 8 years, there was a lot of abuse on Trump supporters. You can find a ton of it online, where there were videos of people getting their cars keyed, having shit broke, getting beat up because they were wearing, Trump paraphernalia. I mean, it did go on for 8 years. And I mean,
I've seen people getting verbally assaulted, similar to the way that the guy did it to
that
me.
abuse that happened.
But
I think I locked up.
But no, yeah, you did. But hold on, I'll give you an example.
I understand that. What I'm also saying is,
but no, hold on. I'm going to give you an example of something.
Okay,
In a second. You said that they were getting abuse at the stores and stuff. All right, I was at a Hobby Lobby.
I didn't say that.
He said he saw
because they were wearing Trump hats. They were being abused. That's what you said.
I didn't say store. I just said, I didn't say store though. I was speaking
Sorry.
in general. I didn't say specifically where.
Okay. I'm adding to it the store part because of what happened to me.
Okay, I'm just saying.
I was wearing a shirt. I was wearing a specific shirt that's had a scarlet A on there for the it basically was meant for an atheist thing.
Okay. I don't know what that looks like.
It's just a like an old-timey scripty A that's on it. That's all it is.
I think I've seen those before.
Okay. I won it as part of another group's thing, and so I was wearing it. At Hobby Lobby, I was asked to leave specifically because of that shirt. Now, the funniest part about it is they said it was because I was promoting adultery, not because I was promoting atheism. But when I told them it was for atheism, they said, oh, that's even more of a reason we need to ask you to leave. Now, I did leave. I made a fuss about it, but I left. When I see people complaining about what's happening to Trump supporters, that's the level of stuff I see. That's the stuff I see reported even on Fox News. I haven't seen someone physically beaten up or threatened to be beaten up.
No,
we're refusing you service because of your hat or because of your shirt. Please leave.
I have seen some places on video and stuff that do and have kicked people out currently because of Trump paraphernalia. Now, I don't agree with either way, but here's the thing. I do, unfortunately, have to point out that these are leased offices. They are basically their leased places. So they do have that right to refuse service for anything, no matter how stupid it is or retarded it is.
Okay. So
I don't have to like it with that. I mean, understand this, Mike. I don't have to look, the whole thing, it was like I was going to go into Menard. Like, okay, for example, there were plenty of places during when I was in the mall or over at, like, when I tried to go to Menards, and they're like, you have to put a mask on. I'm like, I medically can't wear a mask. They're like, then we can't let you in. I'm like, okay. So I went to Lowe's. Okay. No, I'm not.
I understand that. I understand that.
Okay, I'm simply saying I had that also happen in the mall for things like that. I have actually been told to leave places because of certain shirts I had on.
NB, let me stop you for a second. This is why I respect you, because you're like, okay, no problem. You don't give a fuck. You don't give a fuck or a flying fuck or an argument. Like, okay, I understand, no problem. That's why I respect you, man.
There's no point in getting into an argument with these people
that's why I respect you.
No,
the reason, but here's the thing. Hold on. I want to just compare it to something else. I was once asked to leave a restaurant in downtown San Diego because I didn't know that specific restaurant had a dress code.
Yeah,
it was a very expensive restaurant. My bosses were taking me and my daughter to it. Children, their dress code was allowed a lot more freedom.
A lot littler.
Yeah, but when it came to mine, my regular shirt and pants was not good enough, and they said I had to wear a jacket.
Yeah, some places have
So-
jacket. Yeah, there are places that have that jacket attire. I've heard about that. I've never been to a place that actually, did that. But yes, I've heard of places like that.
I've only been there once. I don't even know if the restaurant still exists. It was down on Columbia in downtown San Diego. I do know that the steak that I got was $120. So,
I did have. I actually had a good experience. I was wearing a shirt one time. So, you guys know I used to do role-playing games, right? And I did this thing called Vampire the Masquerade. I mentioned that. So I'm at
well, is this going to be related to the issues we were talking about, though?
I'm saying
this stream is only going to be on for another few minutes.
Sometimes things can be complimentary, but no, okay, I'll skip that for another time. No worries. But yeah,
Okay.
I understand. I've been kicked out of places for other things, and like I was telling Ollie, it's like I don't give a fuck. It's like, okay, you don't want my money, I'll go somewhere where they want my money.
Now, I just want to go back to the water thing, sorry, not the water thing.
Water thing.
Yeah, that was the first thing I brought up. I'm not going to bring that up. I want to go back to the military border thing.
Okay.
How do you feel about them revoking the status of that land from national forest and Indian reservation land?
I will have to actually research the details of this proposal. This is one I have not heard.
It was an executive order signed yesterday or day before yesterday.
Okay.
NB, I will DM you the actual text of the order. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, like I said, you guys know me. I'm not like some crazy MAGA lunatic. If I say I don't know anything about what we're discussing, I'm not going to speculate on it. I'm going to want to look at it before I make an honest assessment. That's the difference between me and a nut job.
All right. Well, with a few minutes left, I'm going to end the stream anyway because it's this is only going to be a 45-minute stream.
Hey, Mike,
Sorry?
what do you think about it? What do you think about it? I mean, personally, I know you don't like
Okay. One, I don't want to get rid of any more national forest land, especially here in California.
Okay.
That I'm very against. But that's a lesser note to the, once again, taking away Indian reservation land because we want to use it.
Where which reservations are affected? No, I mean you may not know that, but what's
Navajo is one for sure.
Okay.
Kumeyaay is one here in San Diego.
No, okay, just give me the states that would be affected.
California, New Mexico, and Arizona.
Okay. So you said it's going to be 60 feet wide.
That's according to what Elihu sent me. And if you want, I haven't activated it yet on Twitter, but on Blue Sky, I'm currently using stuff that people want me to bring up for this show is hashtag pre-show politics, one word.
Okay, NB, I send it to your DM, Gio.
Okay, fine. I'll take a look at it later today, and I'll we can discuss that next week.
All right, so I'm gonna go get some more coffee, and I'll start the CNA stream in about 15 minutes.
All right, gotcha, bud.
Later.
See you in a bit.